Hi everyone, it's Cindy, and I am still working on Christmas. I'm surrounded by Christmas stuff. And one thing I've been stepping over for the last 2 weeks is Christmas fabric, because I had a drawer that had fabrics in it. I just opened it up and just pulled them all out just to see, because looking for different things, and just decided it was just a jumbled up mess. I wanted to do something about it. So I decided this is the year I'm using it or I'm losing it, getting rid of it, because I've had some of these fabrics for decades, it seems like, at least. So what I did one day, and it took me a couple of bouts of doing it, I went to my ironing board, my iron, and I took all the scraps and I ironed them flat. Now some of these are just white scraps that were just mixed in there, so I went ahead and ironed those too. But I just, took it, and then if it was kind of, I had some jaggedy pieces, I cut those off, and you can maybe see them. They're here. Anyway, so I just have all these pieces, and I decided I'm doing something with them. So I took my cookbook, which you may have seen in another video. I said it was going to be like my notes book. Not really an idea book, but just making notes. So I added a tab for fabric. I already had one for Christmas. And then I put some paper in there and said, okay, I need some ideas for using up scraps. So as I was standing there ironing, I'm thinking of things I've seen, and I just made a list. And so as I'm going through these scraps, like I'll just take one and think, okay, what can I do with that? It's really not good for a spine. It's too narrow and probably a little too short. Unless I was doing a narrow spine, I probably wouldn't mess with this for a spine. So, it's probably too, it might work. Yeah. I could cover some index cards with it, or I can make pockets out of it. Like I have this fabric ruffle, which is one of the things I could do with the strips of fabric and make a ruffle and just cut it to fit. And see, I got that idea for this one. So one of the first things I did, I pulled out that piece of fabric. I said, that's pocket size. So I made a ruffle out of the green and added it. And now it can either be a pocket like this. I could sew it onto a page, or I can put it on some cardstock to make it thicker. So anyway, just kind of letting the pieces tell me what it wants to be. But I'm thinking this could definitely cover some index cards, and it can be pockets. So some of the things I did off my list here was, evaluate the fabric. Now these two pieces definitely could cover spines. I mean, maybe it would cover one spine because it's not going to be enough to wrap around, but enough it would cover a spine. So I'm keeping that intact. And then other scraps, kind of with the blue, I just tore them and made them into a fabric flip. So I got different pieces of the blues fabrics. So right now I just have them pinned together. I'll stitch them across, add some lace or something. I haven't got that far yet. And I decided I was making patterns, I guess you would call these, for the fabric flip. So my base would be like 5 by 7, and this would give me an idea of whether a piece of fabric would work for a fabric flip. And I can either tear it, basically this size, kind of mark it so I'll know how to tear it, or I can just trace around it. You can kind of see where my pin's gone around it, and then just cut the piece out. So I have 5 by 7, 4 by 6, and 3 by 5. Roughly, and then of course some pieces like this one is smaller. It's just whatever works out for the piece. So anyway, but that gives me an idea when I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I want a fabric flip, will this work? So I have a couple more, just worked up all of them for the blue. So far I have stacks of that fabric. I showed you that one thing on the board just now. Well, that's just probably a tenth of what I've got to go through. Maybe not quite that much. We'll see. Now this one, I just got pieces I think will work on fabric flips. Will these three go together? Maybe not, but they're at least together, so I can swap out different ones if I want. Okay, then also for bigger pieces, I can make envelopes, fabric envelopes. I've done these quite a bit. This is the book page. I just, the book page is laid out flat. Here's the book. And I just glue it onto a page of it onto the fabric, and then I cut it out, and then I stitch all the way around it, and then I fold it and glue it. So I've done these before. So anyway, and then you can decorate it however you want. So definitely that. Now when I was making that, I had this scrap of fabric left over, and I'm like, oh, okay, perfect size for yo-yos. So I took my 3-inch punch, punched it through some packaging that's a little thicker than paper. And I just put it on here and trace around it, cut around it. And then while I'm just sitting there watching TV, I can make yo-yos. And here's some I made last night. There goes my pocket. Don't fall. Just sat there and made these last night watching TV. And I like the size of these. So the 3-inch circle is pretty good. So I've got a pattern there for that just while I'm going through all these fabrics. So I can make some of these. And then also I have like strips like this. Could be sewn into a ribbon, or it could be used in a tassel, which would be pretty, I think. Or it could be the topper, you know, for a tag. Put on top of a tag. Tassel on top of a tag. I don't know what you call those. Tag toppers, whatever. And then little scraps, of course, can be made into snippets and stitched down with the zigzag to hold them together. So there's that. And then some small pieces, I thought, you know, these look like I can rip these or cut these and they'll be good tabs for your journal. So some of the pieces I did that too. And got those. And then this, you know, a bunch of red ones. And then I was sitting there this afternoon, I was kind of organizing this and thought, you know, I've got this thread here. It's cotton, it's button and crochet and carpet thread. So I just threaded it up and just did a running stitch around it and some pistol stitches there because I'm practicing stitches for the journal of stitching that Roxy and her sister Sarah are doing on Rachel and her sister Sarah are doing Roxy's creation. So I'm going to try to participate in that because it looks pretty cool. But anyway, so let me just play around with this one. So I think it would be a really cute tab on a page, and I'll just do a couple more to go with this one. So excuse me. Then I had some more scraps that I just glued onto an index card, and then I did Franken stitching around them, and I think that was really cool. I like the look of it. It's not, you know, it may not be for everyone because it's a little bit of stitching, but, you know, every once in a while, just grab something and go to the sewing machine, and I just like sewing. So I made several other covered index cards, and these can be either journaling cards in a pocket, or they can be a pocket. And then, of course, you can decorate with whatever you want to. So anyway, that's using up the scraps. Anything else? Yes, I'm going to make covers for journaling card. No. For journals. And I don't have any samples of that here, but I do have like the, you know, the Amazon packages. And just cover it with fabric. I will have plenty of pieces big enough to make several covers, so I will do that as well. And then, of course, for the little bitty pieces, you can make a snippet roll. And I have this. That was, I got it at Dollar Tree, and it had a round circle. That's what round means. Round circle of kind of like burlap sort of stuff that had, I think, a snowflake printed on it. So I took those off to make pockets. And this is what I had left over. And I thought, you know, that's just ready-made to me for a snippet. So I've just been kind of gluing just different little teeny tiny scraps on there. And then, you know, add maybe some lace or later and then stitch down it. So we'll see. It might just end up, I don't think I do a very good job on snippets. So it may not ever become anything, but it's definitely there to start and try. So I think that's all I have, except I did want to, well, I want to show you something else, just because we're talking. When I was going through the fabric, I had some that had, I call it Wonder Under. It's the sticky stuff that you iron on, and I just took it and ironed it on these things. And, oh yeah, there's that. Don't even know if I have any more over here to show you. Where are they at? Right over here. Oh, sorry, they're buried. And I just thought these can be the basis for something. Or add something to it. But I just went ahead and ironed it on things because, you know, I could throw it away, I guess, but it's the beginnings of something. I don't know what, but it's the beginnings. So those just happen to have that stuff already glued on there. So instead of throwing it away, I just glued it on those. And on this, I was going to make this, I forgot. It was the selvage edge, and I thought, well, I'm just going to glue that on the edge of the page so it gives you a little decoration on the edge of the page. So I'm going to glue that on, and then I will just use it in one of my journals. It's got to do, you know, the blue cool color journals. Okay, and then changing gears just a little bit, not necessarily Christmas, but in my Christmas fabric was a piece of fabric, and it was just a remnant. It had all of these squares in it. It looked like a quilt kind of, because it had the squares. So I just took my pinking shears and cut the squares out, and then I glued them on different things. Like here's a bag. I actually made this bag out of another bag. It was probably too long. I cut it off. And same way here. But just glued them on there, and it just kind of decorates these. And this, I made bags out of this scrapbook paper. And I'm thinking farm journals for these. Some of these could be Christmas. You know, they're kind of the Christmas colors. I don't have to open them up for you, but all of these are bags. So this was just some fabric that was in my stash that was just been in there forever, and I don't even know. Someone gave it to me, I'm sure. And so I finally made something with it, and even though I might have to store these, which I will, at least there's something useful, not just a big old piece of fabric that's wadded up. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to keep going through stacks of fabric, keep making all these things, and yo-yos and clusters and snippets, and I'm just going to try to get that fabric down to just the really big pieces, because I have a couple of those, and I don't want to just get rid of those, especially I have several that are green that could work on different themes, not just Christmas. So anyway, okay, that's all I have. So if you got fabric, you might try doing some projects with it, and I will keep you guys informed about whether I make it or not, or if I get buried under a bunch more scrap. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all later. Bye. Hi everyone, I thought of two more ideas for the fabric. One of them is pockets or tucks that are backed on cardstock. So like I had got these quilt fabrics at a yard sale last year, and I just glued them onto book page, stitched around them, and then these particular ones I fold in half. It could be a pocket. It could be a floating pocket if you wanted to, since it's got fabric on both sides. This fabric I got recently, and the squares are already cut out, and I just backed it on to some paper, and this one just happens to be white. So it could become a journaling card if I wanted it to, or it could become a tuck or pocket on a page. So I added that, and then I also added hinges, and this is a big one for me, and I don't know why I didn't think of it. I use fabric hinges a lot, especially when I'm doing playing cards. Make the little booklets. It's a way of connecting the two. And also I've used them a lot on book page booklets. This is just a book page. I've put blank paper on it where you can write. And even though it's not really hinged together, I just cover that spine with the fabric so it reinforces it. And if the paper was ever to break, which I don't think it will now since it's glued to the fabric, but if it was to break, then the fabric would hold it, in place. So hinges and pockets. So anyway, I am still working through the piles of fabric, and I'm determined I'm going to get all the way through it and do something with every bit of it, even if I am left with a pile like this, a little bitty scrap. So we'll work. I mean, if I can get it down to that, I'm good, because I don't really feel too bad about maybe tossing all that. So anyway, I'm going to get back to work, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.